poop, 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 poop. Look at that brown stuff. Okay, my friends, this is breaking news just within the last couple of hours.
Well, it was 9 days ago, actually, but breaking news, you say? Well, I never. So, a canal in a suburb of Argentina's capital, Buenos Aires, turned bright red. Now, officials suspect that aniline, a toxic substance used in dyes and medicines, was present in the water. Pretty simple to explain, right? Well, not if you ask our pal Roger from Mud Fossil University, it's not. So let's see what Roger thinks is going on, shall we?
Shut up and sit down, you big bald
Please subscribe.
Okay, my friends, this looks kind of interesting. This looks like a stream of blood. Argentina River turns red, sparking toxic leak fears. Now, it's in an industrial area. They showed the area that it was in, and it is in an industrial area, but it turned blood red. But this is the key that turns me on here.
Well, there you go. Thanks for watching, everybody. What? He's just explained why the river has turned red. It's an industrial area, and officials are worried that the waste might be toxic. That's it, Rog. Quit while you're ahead. But now I really want to know why this turns you on. I mean, to each their own and all that, but this isn't Omegle. First hint of Old Man Wiener and I'm out here.
Oh my.
Residents report the stream has exhibited various unusual colors in the past: gray, green, violet, blue, and brown. Remember those colors?
Aniline is a colourless to brown, oily liquid which darkens on exposure to air and light. Remember that as well.
Often with an oily substance. Oily.
Like alanine.
That's bodily fluids.
So the Earth is menstruating. I guess that explains earthquakes. They're just earth cramps. Somebody get this planet some anodine, quickly.
They say they have been filing complaints against local businesses since 1990s, with several cases of alleged environmental contamination still open. They're alleged that they're contaminated. However, these colors, I'm not saying they're not contaminated, but let's see what evidence is there to support that that's possibly just a natural thing that happens in the earth. And I say yes, it is.
Well, we all know what you will say it is, but what you won't be able to do is prove any of what you're saying, because it's all complete rubbish.
Now, I'm not exactly sure where this is, but it's somewhere in Australia. It was sent to me.
It's Pithara, Western Australia, and those different colours are due to the interplay of Dunaliella salina and halobacteria producing those pink and red hues, varying salinity levels driven by evaporation and rainfall, water depth, and the colour of the underlying sediment. The seasonal changes between the wet and dry seasons are also a significant factor, creating a dynamic and visually striking landscape like the one you showed. It took me like 3 seconds to find all that out, Roger. I had no clue where it was. Why can't people like you just do the same?
Now, remember these colors? Brown, yellow, green, blue, all of this oily slick.
The colours in the salt pans aren't from bodily fluids, Roger. They're from microorganisms. Halophiles, salt-loving bacteria and algae, thrive in these high salinity environments. They're pigments, reds, pinks, greens, and yellows create the vibrant colours. It's biology, yeah, but microscopic biology, not giant Earth is alive biology.
This, I'm telling you, the Earth is completely made of biological creatures at one time. These are secretions. There's probably a pancreas or something up in here.
Roger, claiming 100% proof requires, well, 100% evidence. Showing some colourful water and salt deposits doesn't even come close. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and this is far from it. Where's the geological evidence of these giant secreting creatures? There isn't any. And showing us your goose rock is also not proof of anything, so don't bother. Other than the fact that Pareidolia is a thing.
That it has all kind of different secretions of different chemistry. They could check out what is in these different secretions. These are secretions in my way of thinking. It even could be a lung.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Humans are really good at seeing patterns, even where they don't exist. Like seeing faces in the clouds, for example. And just because something looks like a lung, it doesn't mean it functions as a lung or was formed in the same way. What the hell am I saying? It doesn't even look anything like a lung. What are you on about, Roger?
Because I have lungs here that I've cut, and you can see all the different colors, like right here. You see that? If that was... there's all kind of different colors in this.
I'm no rockologist, and my understanding of rockology isn't great, but isn't that just a piece of conglomerate that you've cut, hence the smooth surface? It's a sedimentary rock made of rounded gravel-sized pieces of other rocks, and here's how you prove it's a lung, Roger. Give it to a qualified geologist or paleontologist for blind analysis. If they identify it as a regular rock formed by known geological processes, will you accept that? Science is about being willing to be wrong. That's what makes it so amazing. So, over to you, Rog.
I don't know. The Earth is just, it's made of biology. I'm sorry, that's just a fact.
But that's demonstrably false, Roger. The vast majority of Earth's mass is not biological. The Earth's core is iron and nickel, and the mantle is made of silicate materials. The crust contains some organic material, but is primarily composed of igneous, metamorphic, and sedimentary rocks. Biology is just a thin veneer on Earth's surface, not the fundamental composition. And look, I know that probably isn't what he means, but you've got to pick your battles, haven't you?
Now, they could be filing complaints against these people, and it's not their fault.
Or, and bear with me here, I'm just thinking out loud, it is their fault. Because the river is in an industrial area and they found traces of chemicals in the river.
But they got to do the chemistry. They got to dig in deeper. They got to come out of their box and open their minds up and look.
And you don't think that that's exactly what they'll do? What do you think that they'll do the same as you? They'll just go, stand at the river's edge and go, yeah, it's red. That means something is bleeding.
And think about the chemistry they're looking at. Because I see it all the time. Oh, this can't be. It's just impossible. Okay, so, and they won't look.
Yeah, but think about it from their perspective, Roger. You're a highly qualified scientist, chemist, biologist. Pick a scientist. It doesn't matter. And you get a random phone call or email off a guy that tells you he thinks that a river is bleeding.
This should at least be considered.
Fine, I'll consider it then. No, you're wrong. Leave the science to actual scientists, Roger.
You see this? This is not unusual.
It's not unusual to be
No, wrong button, sorry.
But it only happens in certain areas. You see these colors? These are the same colors they were talking about, greens and purples and blues and all of these different colors. You see it? See those colors? And over here, watch. Look at these. Look at the different color little lakes. All the lakes have different colors.
So a blue lake is Earth's eye and a green lake is Earth's bile? Assigning biological functions based purely on colour is scientifically meaningless. It's like saying a red car is angry and a blue car is sad.
This is different. This is different. That's different. These merge together, and this thing here running into here, that's different. This is biology, my friend.
I can't believe I didn't see it sooner, Roger. I think I can see where you've been going wrong. You're getting your ologies muddled up, pal. What you're looking at, the Earth, that would be geology. And what you're talking about is biology.
In Argentina, this is probably all covered up. This is starting to thaw out up here, and this is in Alaska. And it's just saturated with these colored lakes in this specific area, because I know why.
So do I. But I think it'll be more fun to let you say why first.
This is a digestive system. And right there, is the cloaca.
Oh, and I thought it was because of things like water depth and the sediment in the lakes. And also, many Alaskan lakes are fled by glaciers. Glaciers grind rock into a really fine powder called glacial flour or rock flour. You'd love it, Roger. And this flour is suspended in the water and is another one of the reasons the lakes look like they're all different shades of like blue and green. I hope I'm right and he's wrong.
And these two feed together. That's the poop side and that's the urine side. And it even has the pincher muscles there, like sphincter muscles or whatever they call them.
Suddenly I'm not so worried that I was wrong and Roger was right.
And look at the color of green here, how fertile that specific area is. That's because it's poop.
Poop.
And all of these different colors are from the digestive system. And this is where the poop comes down. And it appears that it poops every now and then. Poop, 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 poop. Look at that brown stuff.
Poop.
That could be tested. See what's in there.
Do that then. But if it was me, I'd be worried about the results because based on everything you've told us so far, they're going to be shit.
This is in Australia. Australia is just saturated with blood. I mean, it's just 100% blood. And this is bloody.
Ridiculous. Bloody ridiculous. Everything you're saying is just complete nonsense, Roger.
You know, secretions. And it could be a lung, or it could be just all different secretions in some kind of you know, organ.
Or it could just be that the Pythara salt pans look really cool and colourful when there's water in them.
And this is the thing about Argentina. And there it is. In the past, it has all these different colors: gray, green, violet, blue, brown. And it's oily.
But alaline is oily. It causes the water it comes into contact with to be oily, and it's found in every single colour of dye known to man. And the factories were dumping it in the river. Allegedly. I'm not getting in trouble for accusing a factory.
It could be, there's got to be some way of testing this kind of stuff to see if it's biological or not.
Yeah, but only if you're completely bloody insane. What? I didn't say anything.
I'm sort of looking for a little reality myself.
Oh, the irony! It's too much!
What are we looking at here? Well, this is up in that area where they had that spill. It's in that area. This is digestive system. Nobody's going to convince me of anything other than that. This is in the digestive system of some gigantic creature.
How big were these creatures? The size of the creatures you're imagining, it's just impossible. There's no way a being that large could exist at all, let alone leave behind intact fossilized intestines half the size of bloody Argentina. The physics and biology do not work, pal. But you've never let that get in the way of a good YouTube video before, so why would you start now?
So let's just cut to the chase. I look for abrupt transitions. You see this? That's an abrupt transition. Whatever this discharge is, I don't know. But it's discharging out here, and I can see that clearly.
Now, you can call me naive if you want to. You can even call me wrong. But wouldn't that be a river discharging water into the ocean?
So if you follow it all down, and it's absorbing or diluting or whatever it's doing coming down here. But when you see these abrupt transitions, that's not all river. But there's a lot of just wiggly stuff going on in here.
Oh, Roger, can you stop using complicated sciencey words? I don't know what wiggly stuff is.
It's probably fecal matter. I'm serious. I'm telling you, these creatures, whether they're still alive and producing or whether this is just excess that's running out of them, I don't know. But this is just not
possible.
I just don't know anymore. You have to decide for yourself. I've come to not a conclusion, but a, semi-stable way of thinking about this.
No, you haven't, Roger. Trust me, you really haven't.
There is no globe model. Let's explain.
Define there, define is, define globe, and define model. Then reevaluate your entire statement in the context of basic physics and observational science. And if there truly is no globe model, then explain how GPS works, because it relies entirely on satellites that orbit a globe. You know, the one we live on.
Shut up and sit down, you big bald
Please subscribe.
What is a model? A model is a three-dimensional representation of a person or thing or a proposed structure, typically a smaller scale than the original. You're supposed to take the thing that you're talking about, this cosmology, you're going to bring the Earth down to a scale.
Something like this, maybe?
And in that scale, it's a system or thing used as an example to follow or imitate. Which means when you bring this globe Earth down to a scale and tilt it and all that other stuff, all of the science that you're purporting works on a macro scale must work on the micro scale.
Okay, let's play the analogy game. Let's say I had a tiny model aeroplane. According to Geologic, because it's a model, it should still be able to fly me across the Atlantic, carry 300 other passengers, and serve tiny little bags of peanuts. See how that kind of breaks down? A model is a representation of something scaled for a specific purpose. And in the case of a classroom globe, it's designed to demonstrate the Earth's shape and relative positions of land masses, not to perfectly replicate every single geological process at scale. That's what, well, the actual Earth is for.
That's what a model is. Make no mistake about it.
Alright, then let's follow that logic to its inevitable and probably hilarious conclusion. If a model must perfectly replicate the original at all scales, then a photograph of you is also a model of you. Does that mean the photo also needs to think, breathe, and argue about the shape of the Earth?
If you're gonna say, oh, we have this ball that's spinning and the water sticks to it and people are upside down and it's holding in gases and air and stuff like that. If you are going to say globe model, you have to create a model in which all of that shit works.
Ah, right, so this is the demand and deflect video. So you're demanding a perfect model replicating every aspect of a spherical Earth, but you're offering zero to explain how a flat Earth could possibly work with gravity, day-night cycles, seasons, eclipses, or, literally anything we observe. So how about you create a model where all of that shit works on your magical space pizza? Yeah, good luck with that.
Do you know what they're never going to be able to do? That.
You're absolutely right. We can't create a perfect small-scale replica of the Earth that shows all the physics. Congratulations! You've discovered the fundamental principle of scientific modeling. Models are simplifications designed to understand specific aspects of reality, not to perfectly replicate it. So we agree on something. Now, can we move on to discussing why a simplified spherical model is a far better representation of reality than a simplified flat one?
What's a model? It's a likeness made to scale.
See, you even said it yourself. It's a likeness, not an exact replica.
An architect's set of designs, it's a three-dimensional representation of...
You just did it again. All you're doing is explaining why what you said previously is invalid. Can't you see that?
So what is the ball? What is that globe? What is it? It's actually a concept or a theory. There is no model.
But we've been through this, and you said it yourself. A model does not have to work on all scales. A globe is a scaled-down representation of the Earth. This is by definition a model. So your argument is with yourself. Make up your mind.
A concept is a general notion, the immediate object of a thought. So in other words, we dreamed it up, we thought it.
Yeah, we all know why flat earthers believe the Earth is flat. You're over-explaining now.
We conceived it in our heads that this is how this thing works. Great. What is a theory? Essentially that. It's a conception, it's a mental scheme.
A scientific theory is not a guess or a scheme. It's a comprehensive explanation of some aspect of nature which is supported by a vast body of evidence. It's not just an idea that someone pulled out of the thin air like the flat Earth. It's the result of rigorous testing and observation. The theory of a spherical Earth has passed every single test we've ever thrown at it.
So do we have a concept and a theory of the globe? Sure, no problem. We can all imagine a globe. We've seen the alleged image or pictures, which are images that are actually just not pictures at all, right? Of the globe, so we can conceive that in our minds.
Okay, so you say that we've been conditioned to believe in a spherical Earth. But isn't it as equally possible that you've been conditioned to believe in a flat Earth by a small group of people online who profit from selling books, merchandise, based on a demonstrably false premise? So who's really pulling the strings here?
Do we have a model of it? No, we do not. Because in order to have a model of it, what is a model? As you guys know, as we just said, it's just like this. It's a model, like model railroad sets, model car. Those guys would have to make a model just like that in which all of their science works.
Yeah, but what that says to us is that you think that once that model car has been built, it will function and operate in exactly the same way as the full-size version of it. Is that what you think? Because that's what you're saying.
Now, what's so beautiful about this is that they've got all the opportunity to do this in the world. Do you know why? Because of that bullshit that they placed in our classrooms.
Now, you're laughing, but have you ever considered how incredibly stupid you sound when you say that we've been brainwashed into believing the Earth is a sphere? Realistically, the shoe's firmly on the other foot, pal.
You have a quote-unquote representation of what you think conceptually what the Earth is.
Yes, we have a representation of what the Earth is, and it's called a globe. And it's based on centuries of scientific observation, experimentation, and data. It's not just a random thought, it's backed by evidence. What's your representation based on? Feelings, internet memes, and a deep-seated distrust of authority? Oh, and nestling your nose deep between Eric Dubé's arse cheeks? It's pathetic. You're an adult. Start acting like it.
Now that you have that, make any of your science work on that thing.
We will. On the same day that you make that model car work exactly like its full-size counterpart.
Then you would have a model. In order for them to have a model, you know what you'd have to do? Put water on that thing. Make it spin really fast and make the water stick to it.
Somebody's been reading The Idiot's Guide to Flat Earth, haven't they?
Put people upside down right there.
Yeah, but you're asking for a small solid object to behave like a massive planet-sized object. That's not how physics works. Gravity's effects are proportional to mass. A globe, a classroom globe, has negligible mass compared to the Earth itself, so its gravitational pull is minuscule. That's why we don't float off the Earth towards a classroom globe. To really show you how gravity works on a sphere. On a sphere? To really show you how gravity works on a sphere, just go outside and check to see if you float away or not.
And show me how gravity keeps them on the ball in a miniature scale, in a miniature microcosmic scale of how that works. Put a person on there with gravity holding them together, by the way, which, by the way, you would have to make gravity hold that whole thing together.
But how do you make gravity do anything? Hang on a second, Thanos isn't a flat earther, is he?
Then you'd have to spin it, keep the person on there, and while you're spinning it, have all the water stay on the ball.
And are we spinning it once in 24 hours? You know, so that it's an accurate representation of the actual Earth, even though it wouldn't even be close?
Then you would have a model. Not only that, you also have to figure out and explain, and not even explain, I don't give a shit about your explanations or your conceptions or your theories.
Then who have you made this video for? Because you obviously do care.
Show me a model of air and water and pressure staying on the ball without a container.
So essentially you're asking for another Earth. Well, that's not a model. That's a duplicate. We can't create a miniature planet with its own self-sustaining atmosphere in a classroom. And unless you really are as idiotic as some of the things you've said in your video, then you have no excuse for asking for something so incredibly stupid. But I can tell that when it comes to flat earthing, you're a beginner. Most flat earthers on YouTube moved on from these stupid arguments years ago. Catch up. It's all LED 360-degree screens now and trying to prove that the 24-hour sun isn't a thing, even though people just went there and saw that it was.
The ball, the globe. Don't even give me a globe that's spinning and has water on it and stuff like that. Forget about all that. Just make me a container without a container that contains gas and air pressure.
But the Earth does have a container which keeps the oceans and the air that we breathe and the atmosphere firmly in place. It's called gravity, and it makes no difference whether flat earthers believe it or not. That's just a fact.
Then we could say, oh shit, they have a model. Then us flat earthers may have to be like, well, I guess still geometrically flat, but I guess they do have a model of how, but they don't have that.
Well, we do, but okay, let's just say that we don't. Where's your model? Where's your representation or miniature replica of the actual real flat Earth that you all insist we live on?
Do you know how many things you would have to make work on that in order for their model to work?
Yeah, loads of different things, which is why it's impossible, which is why you're asking for it, because you know it's impossible.
If you were going to proclaim that model for all of those atheists and stuff like that, you might as well make me a flying spaghetti monster model.
Yeah, sure. I'll build you a model of the flying spaghetti monster right after I build a model of a teapot orbiting the sun between Earth and Mars. Both are equally unlikely and equally unsupported by evidence, so you should love them.
Because that's how insane it is.
I agree with you. It would be insane to ask for a model of the flying spaghetti monster, but you don't seem to be able to see that what you've asked for is just as insane.
You have a ball tilted, spinning at 1,037.5 miles an hour at the equator that's holding water on it, and people upside down with gases and air pressure and all this other stuff.
Here's a little experiment you can do yourself. Maybe it'll highlight just how much of a plum you sound. Go out, jump into the driver's seat of your car, find a big wide open space and put the steering wheel either fully locked left or fully locked right and do one circle. But that circle needs to take you 24 hours and see how quickly you feel like you're moving in your car.
That's how ridiculous this is. So stop saying they have a model. You're welcome.
Because atheism is religion itself. Let's see some of this evidence to back it up. I'd like to see it. I've been asking for it for 35 years now. So many atheists, so little time. Who gets whacked first? Well, the winner tonight is the creepy blind man himself, watching me as I watch Adam Savage of Mythbusters.
I stumbled across a video this morning from Karisu Yamoto, and I thought I'd give it a watch because I was in the thumbnail. Now, I was gonna call today's video Creaky watches Yamoto watch Hovind, watch Creaky, watch Hovind, watch Adam Savage. But it seemed a bit too wordy to me, so I'll come up with a title later on. But while I think about it, let's see what Kent Hovind thought about my video, shall we?
Shut up and sit down, you big bald
Please subscribe. Now, usually when I make a video about somebody like Kent Hovind, I generally like to wait at least 2 weeks before I make another video on that same person. But Kent responded to me, which tells me that he definitely has somebody checking YouTube every day for his name. So he started it, and it would be rude of me to not respond again. And seeing as last Friday's video about Kent is sitting on 83,000 views, I'm quietly confident that this one's going to do okay as well.
I did a show some time ago, and Creepy did one on me here recently. He was watching me while I was watching Adam, commenting on Adam Sandler and his atheistic views.
Now, you all know that I've got a terrible memory, but even I can remember that it was Adam Savage, not Adam Sandler, Kent.
Mama said that.
And Creepy tried to watch mine. I'll show you in a minute. See, Bible says the beasts of the earth are going to creep forth after they're upon the earth. Creepy. Creep. English word creep. Let's see, from Middle English. to creep, crawl, creepy blind man, to the Dutch and Spanish and Norwegian, and man, all the languages seem to have it. Showing results for animal creeping. Look at that, all of them creeping back and forth. Oh, wow. The sloth, yeah. Creeping, ground squirrel. Creeping animals that live in trees. Let's see, creeping. Look at that top center one. Does that look like my wife's pug or what?
Ken, pay attention. What are you doing? Why are you showing people this? My name is Creaky. Creaky. Not creepy. I know you think that's funny, but it really isn't.
Tonight, Creepy Blind Man did a show on me while I'm watching Adam Savage of Mythbusters.
Is Adam Savage still an atheist?
I didn't know he was. And what difference does it make?
It's my show, Creepy. I'll talk about whoever I want. You do it on yours. What difference does it make? If someone is an atheist and they believe no God designed all this, I'm a little skeptical of their knowledge of science.
Hang on a second, I'm starting to see a connection forming here. So you think that believing in a young Earth is like believing that the Earth is flat? The more you deny observable reality, the more you unlock hidden scientific knowledge. It's like a secret level in a video game. You've just got to ignore all the evidence and bam, suddenly you're Einstein. Ha, who knew?
Things like that are the reason I haven't made any videos about creationists.
No, it's because you don't have any evidence against creation, any evidence for evolution. You don't have any. There is none. It's a religion.
But how do you know that? How could you possibly know my reasons behind making a video about you? I've got a question for you watching this now. It's not just me that sees the irony in Kent calling us religious, is it? Why would a really religious man like Kent Hovind use the word religion to insult us? Doesn't really make much sense, Kent.
That's why you quit making videos with the flat earthers. Stick on flat earthers, okay? You and Simon Dan do much better at that.
Well, thank you, Kent. I truly appreciate that. Being mentioned in the same sentence as Simon Dan means a lot to me.
But neither one of you are scientists when you come talking about evolution.
Heh, neither are you, and it doesn't stop you talking about it. But unlike you, neither myself or Dan has ever claimed to be something which we are not. You don't have to be a scientist to be able to accept the mountains of evidence for evolution, Kent. Or to debunk you. A 5-year-old could probably do it.
So long, because they all seem to want to frame atheism as if it's a religion itself.
Because atheism is a religion itself. It is.
Was that meant to be me, Kent? Because if it was, don't give up your day job. I mean your day grift. Stick to what you know, which is practically nothing. But yeah, atheism, the religion with no holy book, no prophets, and no deity. Truly, the similarities are striking. It's just like how not playing football is my favourite sport. Makes perfect sense. Or maybe, just maybe, atheism is simply the absence of belief in gods, just like not collecting stamps is the absence of stamp collecting.
You have to believe in all kinds of things. Where did time, space, matter come from, Creepy? You believe, it just came.
Came? Let's keep it family friendly, Kent. There'll be no coming in my videos, I don't mind telling you.
Well, how did life get started? You have a belief, you don't have any science. They can't make life in the laboratory, can't even come close.
Can you recreate God? Because we can't recreate the Big Bang in a lab, so I guess that means that God and the universe don't exist either. And while we're at it, I can't personally build a skyscraper from scratch, so clearly, architecture's a hoax. Your logic is truly something to behold, Ken.
Adam Savage of Mythbusters. Why doesn't he try to bust the myth of evolution?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe because evolution isn't a myth and...
Maybe it is a myth. It is nothing. Nobody's ever seen any of these.
Nobody has ever seen you use a peer-reviewed scientific journal, Ken, so I guess that means your arguments are also a myth. Weird how that works, isn't it? That's like saying nobody has ever seen gravity for themselves, so apples just choose to fall downwards. We see the effects of evolution constantly. Antibiotic-resistant bacteria, dogs bred from wolves, the fossil record. Saying you haven't seen evolution is like saying you haven't seen a cake being baked, you've only seen the finished cake. Therefore, baking is a myth.
It's a dumb religion, Creepy. Admit it. I don't care if you want to believe in that. Honestly, I don't care what you believe in. But don't call it science and don't make it mandatory to teach that to all the kids in the school system.
The school system's got nothing to do with me, Kent. I left it a very long time ago. But the problem isn't the school system. Schools tend to teach things which are backed up by evidence, actual facts. What you're asking them to do is lie to every single student about how the Earth became what it is today. The problem is you think that when somebody accepts evolution, they think that the universe as is was crammed into the singularity. But that isn't what any of us think.
The reason we know it's not a myth is because there's so much evidence to back it up.
Let's see some of this evidence to back it up. I'd like to see it. I've been asking for it for 35 years now.
Are you taking the piss?
Can you stop trying to impersonate me? It's getting a bit distracting. Well, I haven't been here for 35... Well, I've been here for 35 years, but I haven't been doing this for 35 years. And as far as I can tell, Kent, people have been providing you with that evidence for 35 years. And you've also been ignoring it all for 35 years.
Every one of the evidences they give can easily be debunked. There is no evidence for evolution. None.
Saying there's no evidence for evolution, Kent, is like saying the Earth is flat, the moon is made of cheese, and that you are a leading scientific authority. It's so wrong, it's almost a new form of wrongness.
Every Thursday night, Friday night, we do a program. Evolution is a pagan religion. Prove me wrong.
Why bother? You do such a good job of that yourself. What's the name of the god that us atheists worship then, Kent? Because that would make us a religion.
And total peace of mind. What?
Your show gives peace of mind, believing you came from a rock, and when you die, nothing happens, you go back to dust?
No, I was talking about the sponsor of that video, Surfshark VPN.
Time to make Kent Hovind look like a moron. Look.
Please do, I can't wait.
Then you're going to be pleased to find out I'm doing it again in this video, but this time you are being more helpful.
You take a look. Go look in the mirror, Creepy. Who looks like a moron? Okay.
And there we go, so early in the video as well, because nothing says you're confident in your position like talking shit about the appearance of the person you disagree with. Nice job, Mr. Hovind.
Not a doctor. Shh.
Well, Kent, Adam isn't a biologist, so busting the origin of life isn't...
Adam isn't a lot of things, and he does Mythbusters on all sorts of things. You can't be an expert on everything, Creepy.
To be fair, that's true. He could be like you, Kent, and be an expert on nothing.
He could have done a Mythbuster on the origin of life from soup.
Yeah, but if they had done that, it wouldn't have taken them more than 30 seconds to bust the myth, because the second they started to research it, they would have found how much evidence there is that supports it. Why would they waste their time making a TV program nobody would watch?
Earth formed 4.5 billion years ago, a uniform ball of hot rock. That's what they teach. At first, Earth was a ball of hot rock. Earth was a ball of hot rock, hot rock. This is what they teach, Creepy, okay? Do some studying, okay?
I have, Kent, which is why people like me are a thorn in you aside, because the second I decided to sit down and do a bit of reading about evolution, within the first, 5 minutes, I had already read so much compelling evidence that I would have been a moron to not accept it.
Earth began as a hot, viscous ball of rock. Earth was a hot ball of molten rock. Earth formed 4.6 billion years ago. It was a hot ball of rock.
Yes, Kent, the early Earth was a hot ball of rock. Well done. And then things happened. Billions of years things like cooling, differentiation, plate tectonics, the formation of oceans, and, the entire process of evolution, reducing 4.5 billion years of complex geological and biological history to a hot ball of rock is like describing War and Peace as just some words on paper.
And then it rained on the rocks in the oceans and formed oceans, and in the oceans the first living organisms appeared. So they do believe, they teach at least, life came from a rock.
So let me get this straight. Because the Earth was once a hot rock, as you put it, and life later appeared on Earth, that means that you think we think that means life came from rock. That's like saying, because I was once a baby and now I can ride a bicycle, I learned to ride a bicycle from being a baby. One follows the other, but there's a whole lot of steps in between you're conveniently skipping.
Aaron Nelson said, no evolutionists ever believed we came from a rock. Yeah, they did, Aaron. All of them do. You do. You don't want to admit it because it sounds stupid. You know why it sounds stupid? Because it's stupid.
And do you know what else is stupid, Kent? Showing a graphic on the screen that contradicts what you're saying when you think it supports what you're saying. It doesn't say life came from rocks, it says the Earth used to be a rock.
9 billion years ago, Earth cooled down and water began to condense, had rainstorms and made oceans. Wow. In the oceans, 3.5 billion years ago, scientists believe, see, it's a religion.
So basically all you're going to do then, Kent, is read information about evolution and then press pause to tell us that you don't believe it.
Exactly in his wheelhouse. But even I know that the scientific understanding of abiogenesis, if you know, you know.
Was that your brother or grandpa or a cousin, Creepy?
Actually, Kent, that's a gorilla, and it's more like a very, very, very distant cousin. We share a common ancestor, which means at some point way back in the mists of time, there was a population of primates that eventually branched off. One line leading to modern gorillas, and the other leading to modern humans. It's called cladistics, and it's a bit more sophisticated than your "hear the monkeys" jokes.
But even I know that the scientific understanding of abiogenesis isn't about some magical soup spunk.
That's what all the textbooks are teaching, Creepy. Are you going to help me get that out of the textbooks?
Well, Kent, all the textbooks actually describe the primordial soup hypothesis, which proposes that early Earth's oceans contained a rich mixture of organic molecules, and these molecules, energized by things like lightning and UV radiation, could have undergone chemical reactions leading to the formation of more complex molecules and eventually the first self-replicating systems. It's a bit more complicated than, say, I don't know, Campbell's chicken noodle soup.
Aimlessly generating fully formed organisms. It's a complex process involving the gradual formation of organic molecules, protocells, and then billions of years of evolution from that point.
Let's play a fun little game, shall we? Is Kent about to say that's because it's a religion, or but you can't prove it? Drop your answers in the comments now. You're just going to watch it and find out first, and when everyone's going to get this right. Damn!
That's why it's a religion. You have to believe all that garbage. None of that has been observed. None of it's been scientifically tested.
And the Earth only being 6,000 years old has?
See, Creepy, science, what we can observe, study, test, and demonstrate.
Observe, study, test, and demonstrate. Well, that's not great for you, Kent, is it? Because you certainly can't do any of those things based around the ideas you've got about the age of the Earth.
Why don't you show the myth of the silly geologic column?
The geologic column is a composite picture drawn up from multiple locations around the globe. Think of it like a world map. It's a useful representation, but you won't find the entire planet perfectly shown in one place. And the fact that certain layers are consistently found above or below others across vast distances, well, that's kind of the whole point, Ken.
Limestone found in just about every one of the layers. Jurassic limestone, Cretaceous limestone. What is the difference between them? They're both limestone.
Well, one is from the Jurassic era and one is from the Cretaceous era. And Kent, you almost stumbled onto something resembling a real geological question then. It's like asking, if cars are so different, why do they all have wheels? Limestone forms in specific environmental conditions, typically warm, shallow, clear marine waters. And those conditions can exist at various times throughout Earth's history, and they have. It's not the age that defines the limestone, it's the process of formation.
Every speck of dirt in the universe is the same age.
Finally, something we can agree on. Yes, it is. And it's all 13.8 billion years old.
Whether 6,000 or 6 trillion doesn't matter. It's all the same age. You guys just don't get it.
What, and you do? Well, if it doesn't matter, then why do you keep making videos saying that anybody who disagrees with you is wrong? Well, I don't know about you, but that's about as much Kent Hovind as I can take in one sitting. So thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you again on Monday. Love you. Bye. Well, I've got a very on-topic joke for you today. Ready? Why did the creationists cross a busy highway? Because it was in the Bible and he wasn't allowed to question it.